Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Oldham County Fiscal Court for today's meeting, January 21st, 2025. I'm David Vogel, Oldham County Judge Executive. Happy to have all of you here today. If you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Holly Prane, please call the roll.
Magistrate Likens.
Here.
Magistrate Tice.
Here.
Magistrate Woosley.
Here.
Magistrate Jeffries.
Here.
Magistrate Hounds.
Here.
Magistrate Hawkins. Here. Magistrate Dye.
Present.
Magistrate Logston.
Here.
And Judge Vogel.
Here, having all members of the fiscal court present, this meeting is now in session. Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any additions or suggested deletions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have the minutes from our last meeting, which was 2 weeks ago, or maybe it wasn't, it was a little different.
less than 2 weeks
It was less than 2 weeks ago. We met on Thursday, the special call meeting, and that was on, what day was that? January
The 9th, I believe.
9th. Yes, sir. Is there a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Any corrections? All right. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, Holly, you're batting 100% on no corrections. Good enough. Okay, Sheriff, the next item on the agenda is our public comment. Is there anybody here who would like to address the fiscal court today? It's a cold day outside, and we have very few people here with us, but we're happy to be at home with anyone who's watching our program. Moving on, the next item is the 2024 Oldham County Sheriff Property Tax Settlement. Sheriff Wakefield is here to review that with the court.
Okay, estimates.
Can you speak into your mic, Sheriff?
I'm sorry, Tim Wakefield, Oldham County Sheriff. Estimates for the 2024 tax revenue, or commission for tax collection, was $2,220,000. We ended up exceeding that by nearly $180,000. It was $2,407,402.03. Total revenue for 2024 was $3,076,808.92. So, if the court would so move to approve that, that'd be appreciated. So,
Judge, I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All right, to approve the sheriff's tax settlement for last year. Any questions from the magistrates? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
all right, thank you much.
All right, thank you, Sheriff. Now we have, the next item is approval of the county clerk's corporate surety bond. Amy Alvey, would you like to explain that?
Sure. I received today, so I appreciate you guys adding that quickly to the agenda. I received a letter today from the Department of Revenue that says, pursuant to KRS 62.055, it requires every county clerk before entering office to execute a bond to the Commonwealth with corporate surety, authorized and qualified to become surety on bonds in the state. So I have an existing bond, and I've had a bond that's renewed every year. However, according to this KRS, it says that the bond of the county clerk shall be examined and approved by fiscal court, which shall record the approval in its minutes. Then fiscal court shall record the bond in the county clerk's record and keep a copy of the bond, and a copy of the bond shall be transmitted within 1 month to the Department of Revenue, where it is also recorded. We historically, we always send a copy of this bond to the Department of Revenue, so they already have it. I went back and looked at prior year minutes. We've never done this before, and then I looked up the KRS, and the KRS has not been changed or amended. Last time it was amended was 2014, so I don't know if they have somebody new that actually read the KRS and said, hey, fiscal court needs to do this for the clerk's office. So All I'm asking is for the acknowledgement of Liberty Mutual. I've already paid for the bond, so I'm not asking fiscal court for reimbursement of that. It was $407.20. So just need action by the court to accept the bond and have it recorded, reflected in the minutes, and then have it recorded downstairs.
Judge, I'll move that we accept the bond premium of $407.20.
Second.
All right, any discussion on it? We're accepting the bond.
And
as,
it is for $100,000, which is the requirement under that KRS as well.
Measure
Judge,
die.
Amy, aren't you just asking us to acknowledge the presence of the bond,
Yes.
that it exists? And there's no, the money figure and all that has nothing to do with it.
I'm sorry, say the last part.
You want us just to acknowledge that you turned this over to us.
Correct, yes, sir.
I think the motion's a little off there.
Okay.
We're just, we're acknowledging the receipt of her bond information. That way,
Okay with that?
All right, Amy, did you pay for this out of your own pocket?
No, not out of my pocket, through our office.
Through your office?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it flows, excess fees flow over to you guys anyway, so I'm not worried about the $407, so it's okay.
All right, we've got a motion on the floor for the court to accept this bond. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
A motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we have under county administration, the bills to be paid this month. Motion to pay the bills.
Judge, I'll make a motion that we pay the payables.
Second.
All right. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is budget transfers. The county treasurer, Pat Metter, is here to discuss budget transfers.
Good afternoon. The December month end marked the quarter end and it requires approval of budget transfers by the court. Have a total of 26 budget transfers totaling $174,675. Requesting your approval of the budget transfers.
Judge, I'll make the motion we approve the budget transfers for $174,675.
I'll second it.
All right. Any questions from other magistrates about those transfers? And that essentially it just moves the money from one fund to another, that where it may be over budget, others are under budget. It just balances everything out.
That's right.
All right. Hearing no other questions, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Now we're on to contracts and resolutions. We have the Commerce Parkway Traffic Study Contract. And County Engineer Jim Silliman.
Good afternoon, magistrates, judge. So if you recall on December 17th at your meeting that day, you did approve QK4 to provide a traffic study of the Commerce Parkway from Parker Drive to 393. At that point, we had some communication with QK4, the consultant, to get a contract in order to have that signed. And in the process, when reviewing some of the information, it was brought up that it'd make sense to add two intersections, and that's where the road actually extends towards 53, and Crystal Drive and Parker Drive both connect to 53, so it made sense to add those to the study. So we got a revised price for the study, which is $33,050. The original proposal was $30,220. So I'm asking fiscal court approve Judge Executive Vogel to sign this contract, understanding this is also a contract that will be split 50-50 with the city of LaGrange, since approximately half of the project is in LaGrange and half in the county.
Judge, I'll move that we approve this contract with QK4 to add these two items to the original contract.
Second.
And it came through our road committee this morning with a positive recommendation.
And I'll second.
Question.
Jim, we asked this question this morning, but LaGrange is okay splitting the other $3,000, right?
That is correct.
Manager Towns.
So the contract is between us and QK4. Is there going to be an MOU between us and LaGrange, or does LaGrange have their own contract with QK4?
There will be two individual contracts, one between fiscal court and and QK4 and one between LaGrange and QK4. And each, that's a good question. So each are in the amount of $16,525, but the total project is $33,050.
Understand. And I'm not trying to split it up. I mean, I'm not trying to be difficult about it, but it does say this. Okay, so ours is the 1625.
That's correct.
But somewhere I thought I saw that the total contract was 30,000, and I just want to make sure we're not on the hook. Like LaGrange is not.
No,
gonna pay.
we
I know
asked
they
them
will.
to split it up so they could bill separately.
Okay.
So we will just pay for our half.
And what's the timeline on this?
We should have the study completed by the end of the fiscal year, I believe is how we set it up.
Okay.
Manager Hawkins.
I know that when we talked about it before, the mayor and the city council was okay, but now you've added some. Has that also gone through?
That's correct.
Did it go through last night through there?
Well, we've been in communication with Corey Rusnick, the director of Public Works, who's
Okay.
working with the mayor, and they've approved this contract. And actually, Beach Cragmile, the city attorney, approved it via email. So
And this also came through economic development, which Magistrate Tice is the chair of, and we're excited for this study, and we think it's, the timing is due or overdue, and this is also in my district, so I'm thrilled about this.
great.
Manager Jeffries.
I just correct Magistrate Hawkins, if the City Council of LaGrange met Monday a week ago, not last night.
Okay.
They normally meet the first Monday of the month, but with the snow they had, they moved it to last week.
And so at last week, were they aware of the larger number and
I
okay
don't-
with it?
I don't recall them talking, I wasn't there for the whole meeting, but I know Jim said that he had talked to the mayor, to Corey, I guess, and that that they're okay with it. So,
I just didn't want there to be an issue if they were surprised because it's
Right.
3,000 more, which is 1,500 more, but I just wanted to make sure that.
They
Our
are very
Ts were
aware.
crossed
They're
and
aware of it.
I's were
and,
dotted.
Again, between the mayor, the director of Public Works,
Okay.
and the city attorney, they've said okay.
we did talk about it. Corey was at our road committee meeting this morning, and so, I think he's aware of it.
Okay, very good.
All right, well, at this point, we've got a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any further questions about this increase in the cost of this study? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Now we'll go on to the committee reports and recommendations. The opioid funds committee met this morning and had at least one recommendation and one item of support. We have, first of all, there was a recommendation to support a year-long exposure of opioid problem or opioid, I wouldn't say problem information, I'd say encouraging people to stay away from opioids in the Oldham area. Jane Ashley Pace is here. Jane, would you like to tell the court members exactly what it is that the opioid committee endorsed this morning?
Yes, so I was watching you all meet a couple of months back, and you all were talking about how to spend the funds, and there was a lot of talk about the electronic signs around town, which are great. But I kept thinking, well, somebody needs to say the Oldham era, because we are a great way to get information out. All of you all have contacted me at different times to get different information out to the community. So what I did was put together a package for you all you're going to be doing all these initiatives and supporting different projects in the community to help fight this, but you need to have a way to communicate that and educate the public about what's available, what resources for family members that are maybe going through these issues. So I put together a plan that incorporates the Oldham era, our website, and some of our special publications we do throughout the year to help you all get out what you are doing. And that information, whether it's the suicide line that's available or programs at the health department, Narcan locations, those kind of things, you're going to have a way to get that information out. So that's what this package is for.
Right, and this covers front page exposure on the almost the entire year on the Oldham era. Also, a couple of special publications, a countywide publication, a senior publication. There is a county guide for fiscal court and all the public agencies that go out each year, and also a website. So
Right,
we've got-
a website presence.
all right, so we had, excuse me. The committee this morning recommended that, so I'm going to ask if any one of the committee members would like to make a recommendation. We go forward with this.
Judge, I make a motion, we approve the $12,250 contract with Oldham to publish the opioid settlement.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Now, are there any questions from any magistrates who weren't at the meeting this morning?
And we did check to make sure that this is something that can qualify under the
Right.
stipulations.
Right, this would qualify under opioid funds, and you'll be interfacing with Holly to help us with the content. All right. All right, we've got a motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Appreciate you bringing this idea up. I think it'll be certainly beneficial, and we're working to counter opioid abuse in Oldham County everywhere we can. So, thank you. The opioid committee also this morning heard information about a potential drug task force for a 6-county area, basically those counties between here and Gallatin County up I-71. Barry Baxter, would you like to basically outline for the magistrates? Barry's been interfacing with the committee and has information to share about it.
Back in December.
Is your mic on?
It is, Judge. Back in December, Commonwealth Attorney Courtney Baxter, myself, the county attorney from Henry County, county attorney from Trimble County, the Commonwealth Attorney, Leanne Roberts, from the Carroll and Owen County Circuit, a representative of the Commonwealth Attorney's Office that is Boone and Gallatin County, as well as some other county attorneys and a number of law enforcement officials met at Post 5 to discuss the formation of a drug task force that would have some multi-county jurisdictional possibilities going between Oldham County and up the 71 corridor to Gallatin County. This is at the initial planning stage, so the idea would be that a task force is formed with a MOU that is between the counties. A director would be hired who would essentially be, for lack of a better term, the chief of police or the captain of the task force. There would be a proposal that some officers be attached to that task force either on a part-time or full-time basis, and that the task force would work to address drug trafficking as it goes between the 6 counties, and actually anything else that they might have, they would have jurisdiction. For example, if somebody is dealing with a trafficker in Shelby County, one thing that we discussed this morning, and I will reach out, is whether or not Shelby County would have an interest in being involved. I mean, the geographic area that we initially talked about was targeting the 71 corridor. This is a little bit different than the interdiction that the Oldham County Police Department currently does on 71, where they target high-profile people that would be driving between the north and the south, or the south and the north, moving drugs through Oldham County, but that are not necessarily destined for Oldham County. We have a meeting on Friday at Post 5, another meeting to discuss kind of the status of this. One of the things that we talked about this morning that I felt like was important was to know whether or not there would be interest from Oldham County in participating if the details are something that we can get behind. And I think it is extremely important, considering population-wise, we're going to be the largest population center for sure in these 6 counties. The one thing that I did share with the magistrates that were present in the meeting this morning is that these task forces have been operated throughout the state. There's one in northern Kentucky. Campbell and Kenton County have a task force, And in comparing some statistics related to overdose deaths and drug crime with those two counties, which are pretty similar socioeconomically to Oldham County. They might be larger, but socioeconomically, their drug crime is going down since the formation of the task force, and ours, and that's by all measures. That includes possession related crimes as well, but ours seem to be going up, and our overdose deaths have gone up to some degree. The sheriff was present in the meeting this morning, so the overdose deaths last year I think were 17, and he pointed out that that does not include the number of people that were revived due to Narcan, and I think the number is closer to 70 overdoses last year in Oldham County. So this is at the inception phase. We're working through it. We've had some discussions with Chris Evans, who is the chairman of the Opioid Abatement Commission. We talked to Jesse Halliday, who works closely with him, about whether or not we could use opioid funding for this. And there would be some restrictions on it, and there's some details that would have to be worked out about that, but they were favorable that we could, as long as we follow certain rules, be able to do that. So that's where we are.
All right. We have the sheriff and chief of police here with us this morning or this afternoon. Chief Smith, would you like to come forward and give us what information? I know this is hitting you cold here, so I don't expect you to be able to rattle off too much, but just, about drug enforcement in the county here, how much do we do? Where do we do it? I know we're on I-71 a lot. Are we anywhere else? And so forth.
I did participate in one of the meetings that Mr. Baxter spoke about, originally the drug task force. There's some issues that pertain particular to us in that contract. If you're asking me the drug problems that we're having in Oldham County, the singular drug that we have the most problem with is marijuana. We cite more for marijuana than we do anything else. Excuse me. We don't cite a lot for felony drugs. I know 71 has been mentioned. Excuse me. 71 has been mentioned about our activity on 71. Quite frankly, the drugs that we take off 71 is actually a byproduct of what we originally were asked to do. If you remember correctly, Judge, we had a lot of accidents in 71. We needed increased enforcement. So that's where we started. That's where all that started from, was our increased enforcement in 71 for traffic issues. During the course of doing that, we realized that a lot of drugs are passing through the county on 71. So we've trained officers to be more alert to interdiction issues, how to spot people maybe, how to find it better. So we are finding drugs on 71. I can't say that all those drugs are pass-through drugs. Some of those drugs we know we're going to be filtered back into Oldham County, so we feel like we're making a pretty good headway. But as far as narcotics and drugs arrest, in the counties all this task force is taken in, we probably make at least a third of all those arrests just in Oldham County. Now, that being said, as a premise to what I'm going to say, we have 3 vacancies, currently 3 vacancies. Anticipate a 4th in the spring. This contract with that task force requires us to give at least 1 officer. Right now, I don't think it's in our best interest to give an officer to this task force. We have constant demands for seeing the police in our neighborhoods. We have increased that dramatically by our neighborhoods checks. That was another thing we were asked to do. If we worked in any task force, I'm not saying this is not a good idea. I think it's a good idea for them. I don't necessarily think it benefits us as much as it would the other counties. If we were to get involved in any task force, I would recommend we get involved in the HIS task force, Homeland Security Task Force, because they work more in Jefferson County. Most of our drug problems come out of Jefferson County. It doesn't necessarily come out of the other counties. So my emphasis would be to that we put our focus there and not necessarily with this task force. Last year, we averaged, I think we were right about 43,000 CAD activities with just patrol. If we take an officer out of that, then that lessens our enforcement in Oldham County. I don't think right now, Judge, we're in a position to do that.
All right. And I know besides asking for an officer, the task force recommendation, or let's say discussion, centers around counties within the task force contributing funds to, I guess, hire other people to join the task force. And then I think the hope is that in time, other sources of funds can be identified to supplement the initial contribution from counties. So our contribution, if we make one, might maybe not be with personnel, might be with money. But I think they are hoping for personnel from us, but I know our department is stretched. And
well, we are. You know, we are a growing county. We're excess of 70,000 population right now. There's plans galore in Oldham County to expand, and we have to address what issues those are going to bring with them. I just think right now at times we're stressed. You know, I said, we had about 43,000 CAD runs last year, or CAD responses last year, just in patrol, and that comes out to about 5 per hour, what we respond to. We put a big emphasis on neighborhood patrols because, like I said, we've been asked to be more visible in the neighborhoods, and we have been. But also, that also has a byproduct because you can see where burglaries have gone down, thefts have gone down. I think that's a combination of our visibility in the neighborhoods as well as personal protection through cameras, home security systems. I just think that if we go away from that, Judge, we could be creating a problem for ourselves. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's a bad idea what they're doing. I think it's a good idea. I just don't think at this point in time it's a good idea for us.
As Oldham
And
County
you're right
Police.
about the money. The contract calls for $40,000 commitment from fiscal court. If we join the task force and do not supply an officer, they're asking for $40,000 commitment.
Right.
And if I could, I'd like to remind the court that we have 12, 13 cars over 100,000 miles that we're going to have to replace next year. They're getting to be more and more expensive. It's going to take a huge commitment to do that, and $40,000 is a huge commitment. I think it might be better spent elsewhere.
Okay. All right. Well, does anyone have any questions here for the chief?
Judge, I have a couple.
Magistrate Hounds.
I guess, and it's more of a general conversation and not for the chief. So if Magistrate Woosley has chief questions, that's fine. Mine's a general comments, not necessarily related to what the chief said.
Chief,
Okay.
I'd like to see the stats that you say our drug problem here in Oldham is more out of Louisville than it would be the surrounding counties. I'm not saying it's not. I'd just like to see those stats. And my second question, the sheriff participated in our meeting this morning, and he indicated that he could have some personnel available from the sheriff's office to participate. Since Oldham County is the only county out of the 6-county area that actually has a county police, probably be more appropriate that we have the sheriff's department involvement instead of the county police. Would you support this if we went with the sheriff instead of your agency to man this task force?
Is that the question?
That's the question. It's one question.
Two
Yes.
things. I'll see about the stats and get for you.
Okay.
And where they come from. As far as the sheriff, if he wants to be that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't have any objections to that at all. Matter of fact, if he wants to do it, that's fine.
All right, last question. If we did join the other task force out of Jefferson County, you would have somebody available for that?
No, I wouldn't. I just said that as an option.
Okay.
I don't think we should be personally committing personnel to another venture right now when we're carrying vacancies ourselves. Okay. We are the primary responsibility for law enforcement. The Oldham County Police Department is. If we lessen our personnel, then we lessen our enforcement in the county. And that's the position I'm in right now. And quite frankly, with the vacancies we have, we're not being very successful in finding laterals right now. So we're going to open up a recruit process. Our recruit process is about 10 months before we give someone a ride solo on the street. So we're going to be running vacancies for a while if we can't find good laterals.
And I think I want to point out that I believe it was said at the meeting this morning, the sheriff did say that he might be able to provide personnel, but he asked for $150,000 to go hire somebody.
Right.
So it's not somebody coming off existing staff. So if we're hiring additional people, we need to think about where they're going to be placed. That we want, because that's, if they want $40,000 for us to participate, but $150,000 to provide them employee and vehicle, that's a $110,000 swing.
But I think it depends on what our participation is, correct?
Say that again.
I think it depends on what our participation is. As I understand it, there's different levels, and until we get the information put together as to what the level of participation is, I think the initial ask, if I heard Mr. Baxter correctly, was the $40,000, and that until we get a living, breathing document, I guess today the court verbally should support the building of the task force. We know what we think the exposure is going to be. I mean, Judge, to your point, if we were to have to hire a full, whether it be a deputy or a police officer, a car and everything, I mean, that's $150,000 easy for us because of our salary and everything. And then there's the maintaining of the hiring of the executive director or whatever that person, I've heard a couple different terms. I'll use mine as executive director till somebody corrects me, but, who funding that position. So I think that it could be as little as the $40,000, but, I would have to, obviously Mr. Baxter's had more conversations than the rest of us have as to what we're thinking that could be in the future.
Right. Well, I'll just say my understanding is it's personnel or either or, contribute financially or contribute with manpower. And then there's a lot of other details that are involved in a memorandum of agreement among 6 or 7 counties as to how it's going to operate and where it's going to operate, so forth. Just a lot of details to be worked out. So the idea overall is to reduce drug abuse and sales in this area, and I think that's good. But we are 60% of the entire district. There's 70,000 people here. There's 56,000 in the remaining counties. So out of 130,000 people, we're 70. So that has to impact on our judgment as to whether or not how we're going to benefit in relation to. I'm happy to provide assistance to a county up the river, but I'm not sure we can provide manpower for counties up the river. That's the state police function. Magistrate Jeffries.
Yes, Judge. We had a good discussion this morning about this, and we're always been struggling here to use some of these opioid dollars that we've got that here in the county. I think we're a little over 800,000 in our account now. That's it's very restrictive on what we can do. My understanding, talking from our county attorney, that they think that with some modifications or whatever, that these funds can be used to either fund personnel or get this task force up and running. So I'd certainly like to encourage us to take this seriously and consider help funding this task force. If we, want to do it on a 2-year, 3-year basis, see how it's, how it works. And my understanding is once we get up and running, if there's dollars available, there's a lot of federal dollars or state dollars, both that are available to put into a task force like this. So I'd like to see us at least explore this kind of in depth. And I think Barry said they were going to have another meeting, I think, on Friday. And so I think that, our sheriff this morning spoke that he thought he could maybe manage a person or at least particular part of a person to work with this task force. So I would hope that we would consider this and move forward with a recommendation that we would sign on to this task force, Judge.
Well, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if we've got $150,000 to spend for personnel, either department could manage that person.
Right, but these are opioid funds that
Right.
we're talking about.
And
so-
opioid funds are available for opioid enforcement, as I understand it, but not enforcement of other drugs. So personnel have to apparently maintain a log of how much time is spent on opioid abuse and how much is spent on something else. And, we may not be, regardless of which department somebody may be funded into for this from opioid dollars, doesn't mean we're going to get all those opioid dollars back. If they say, well, I spent half my time running down, some other narcotic, so there's a risk involved there.
Okay.
But I join with you in supporting getting rid of this problem or reducing sales and, cracking down on people who are making a living selling poison.
Judge,
Okay.
I hate to interrupt, but there's a couple things, and we keep getting bogged down about numbers that are in the draft proposal that was circulated. And again, we've had one meeting, and we have a draft proposal. My ask was this morning, my ask continues to be that I'm in a position to go to this meeting on Friday and tell them that there is support from the court for me to move forward with trying to get this thing up and running with the assistance of the other counties. I'm not asking you all to say today you're going to give me 10 cents. But what I am asking is that there be an affirmative vote that when I go to this meeting, I can tell the other 5 county attorneys that they can go back to their county judges and their fiscal courts and tell them that Oldham County supports this concept and would like us to try to move forward to see if we can come up with an understanding and a framework. We're not hiring a director on Friday. We're not paying anything on Friday. But there is no question, and the chief, I'm sure, would not disagree, that almost all crime is drug-related. Whether they're breaking into your house, they're stealing change out of your car, or they're actually engaging in the trafficking or possession of illegal drugs or marijuana. They're not doing that stuff. They're not breaking into your car so they can go home and feed their baby. They're breaking into your car so they can get money to go buy drugs. So, there is definitely a problem, and whether or not we're going to, we may or may not participate in the task force, but if I can be in a position to go to them and say, Oldham County, which is the biggest county up and down 71 of the 6 counties we're talking about, has instructed me to move forward with trying to do this and work out an agreement between all the counties. That's what I'm asking for.
Measure Tice.
I agree with that statement and understand the chief's position with manpower. But if our sheriff's department says that he can make that work and all the other counties are also supportive with their sheriffs and all of that group is in contact with each other, it only makes sense that we should do that. The funding, like I think Magistrate Jeffries was pointing out, come out in opioid money. If they're out there looking for other, as long as we're searching and working at opiate, no matter what we may find, we're giving it 100% effort. Now, you might find something, if you're fishing for one thing and you happen to get a different one, then that doesn't count, but you're always fishing for a certain thing, and that's what we're doing. Our opiate money, unless I'm mistaken, we have a large enough quantity that we don't have, we've got a little bit of an abundance of that fund that we could pull out of and not take it all by any means. Because we've got over what, 800,000?
800,000 right now.
Yeah. I think and if our sheriff thinks that he can handle that, which I think that's what you said when you first started, from gathering that from the meeting this morning, I think we ought to give that to him and let him roll with it and see if we can't.
Well, it's not quite that
support it.
easy. I mean, you have to give him $150,000. You got to commit the money, and then he's got to find somebody to hire. What I'm saying is that if we're going out and hiring people, the police could easily hire somebody just as well. Either one of these departments can take on another person to send to another agency if you're willing to fund it. If you're not willing to fund it, then we're back to some other number.
Well, let me just say in statement to that is we have a certain amount of money that we raised the dollars that we were going into our officers about a year or two ago, and we thought that we were going to be able to stay staffed. And what the chief just told us, we're already 3 people short, anticipating a 4th being short. If he had the money, if he had the people to pay the salaries that we thought we were at so we wouldn't have any vacancies, he wouldn't have any empties, wouldn't have any vacancies right now. The sheriff says he thinks he can do that. I think we turn that money to him and let him run with that ball.
Well, there's no guarantee he can come up with somebody.
See, well,
There are the
I'm
shortage of
talking
people.
about,
I'm not trying to undermine the sheriff here. I'm just saying, let's get back to Barry's point. Okay, he's asking to be able to go forward. I'm willing to say he can go forward, but don't go forward, with standing on 3 feet of ice. You're standing on about a ½ inch ice, in my mind. We're willing to, look at it further, be part of, everybody's anxious to do something here, but there's a lot of detail to be filled in. We're going to, if you want to create another police department to operate independent of the fiscal court in this county, and that's what that'll be. There'll be no reporting to us about anything here. They'll just be operating independently with no feedback to us. Okay, so that's part of what you're looking at here. I'm a little uncomfortable with that, frankly. I trust our people, police and sheriff. I'm not sure that I want somebody else operating on a law enforcement basis in our county. State police do that now. They come and go, but they don't coordinate with our people very well at all. In other words, they do their own thing, and you don't even know about it. But right now, they're the main law enforcement in several of these counties up the river. So I don't know how they're going to participate other than write a check. So who's going to fund this thing?
Judge.
Everybody wants to jump in and solve the problem, and I'm with you on that in that regard. But I'm just saying there's a lot of detail here, and I think our people have done a great job, both departments, in providing security and safety for our community here. But I'm kind of uncomfortable with letting another force unresponsive to us operate in this county. Go ahead.
Magistrate Hawkins was before me.
Okay, go ahead.
I think when we came out of our opioid fund committee meeting, the motion was that we went forward with the committee having interest and not necessarily a commitment of support or non-support, just interest that we could send our attorney to go pursue and get a little bit more information and understand a contract or put a contract. But I think we can agree that we would have interest without saying we're going to fully support, especially without a contract in place yet, if that would be a good compromise for the group.
Magistrate Helms.
So, Judge, a couple of things. I think there's a benefit to numbers, and I think that the chief would probably agree with this. Is when or he asked, I guess, to take the number to 7 per shift. I think you would agree that that's increased the number of responses that you're able to make, and the self-initiated things, and those numbers of. Well, we were at 4 and 5, and now we're at 7. It's made a difference, and it's you just said it yourself, talking about the number of neighborhood patrols, directed patrols, or whatever the term is that you guys use. That's made a benefit too. So in my book, by using the chief's information, if we were to take and create a task force which is those counties, and we get more support than just Oldham County, we get the Henry and the Trimble and those folks all to jump in, we would have more boots on the ground to help fight the problem that we know is out there. So I think there's a benefit. You know, we fortunately have the largest population. We fortunately maybe have have more income that we could potentially support this. So I think that, you know, the number of folks on the ground, if we were to say give $150,000, just using a round number, to either one of our law enforcement agencies, that's one person. But we're talking about funding one person and gathering the dollars and figures from Henry and Owen and Carroll and Trimble and others. Maybe that becomes 5 people. Maybe it becomes 6 people. Don't know until we get the thing written out. And I think that the court is on the same page, or I'm understanding it is. We just want to let the county attorney go and continue the process, and then we've got a long way to go. To your point, we've got a long way to go before we can do something. Your comment that you just made about no feedback, I don't think that's the case, because I think that what I would anticipate would happen is we would have some kind of document, and there would be some kind of measures that could be put in place that we could show the court that there are things that are happening. A comment that I made to Mr. Baxter was, if today, or let's just use December 2024, that came through the drug court was 10 cases. And after we have this thing up and running for a year, it goes from 10 to 20 cases or 15 cases. Does that say that we've got that much more activity? Does that say that the task force is doing more than what the police were able to do because of all their other responsibilities? I don't know, but I think that we can put some measures into place that where we can get feedback to us. I mean, our goal is not to always have an ROI, return on investment. We can't always picture that. We can't always say that we spent X number of dollars and we got this money or this benefit back. But I think that there can be some feedback. I think that if you were to ask the other agencies, they should be willing to provide us with feedback. The chief has got the statistics that he uses from the CAD and from, I'm sure, other reports that his people create. That's data that we can use, and we can say maybe they're going to see an uptick in responses because of the task force, because of the moving parts. There's a lot to be learned, and there's a lot to be done. And again, I think we just need to give our support to the county attorney, and we're going to take baby steps. I hope we take baby steps in order to make this happen. But if we can use the opioid money, that would be a slam dunk. And someone else made this statement to me earlier today. If we get a task force established and you get an executive director and they start applying for these funds, it may reduce the amount of money that the county has to pay because of the funds that they will be able to acquire through the grant process. So just even having that executive director's position, my term, that may allow us to help fund this and not actually cost county dollars. And I think that'd be a win-win situation for everybody.
Measure die.
Only got 2 brief comments. First one is, the chief mentioned that those 13 police cars need to be, or 13 police vehicles need to be replaced. That's of no bearing on this subject because that money wouldn't come out of the opioid money anyway. That would come out of our general fund, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's a non-issue here. But from what I heard at the meeting this morning, and I have to support Attorney Baxter on this because, you know, I don't think he's asking for him to go up there and make any firm, hard, written commitments. But he's only been to how many meetings you been to, Barry? One. My daddy always told me a phrase, and me and my brother, and as I always liked it, didn't like hearing it, but I understand what he was trying to say. Contempt before investigation. I think there's way too much contempt about this, about who's going to get what and how much money is it going to cost. We don't have anything, none of that is firmed up by anyone We're just trying to figure out, do we want to be part of this party? And I think we are smart enough, this group here is smart enough to understand, at some point in time, maybe we'll say yes, and maybe we'll pull the plug. But until he can come back with more of what's going on at the other end, I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is police business. A lot of it is police business. The chief and the sheriff will both tell you that there's things going on that they can't share with people because it's police business. And so I think I think we're cutting ourselves short. And the other thing, and it's the third comment, we got $880,000, $850,000. We're going to get some more for the next how many years?
20 years.
Huh?
20 years.
20 years. If we can't learn how to spend this money correctly, the next court and a few others after that are going to have a hell of a time getting it done when you got that kind of money looking at you in the face. So if it costs $150,000, just saying it does, if that's what it's going to cost, and that's what gets it off the ground to see if we're going to get any results, well, that's what it's going to cost. But if we don't get the results, then we won't make that mistake again.
True.
I mean, we've ventured bigger numbers than that on a lot of different things here.
Right. So you're willing to, if we just go with general funds, you have the same feeling?
Well,
Let's leave opioid money out of the thing altogether.
Well, if it wasn't any opioid...
Let's just go with general funds.
No, I didn't say that. I said if there wasn't any opioid money here, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Well, that's my point.
That's what I'm saying.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
You think you got some free money to spend, so you're willing to go ahead.
Well,
but
it's not
you
free
don't wanna
money.
You don't want to take on any pain. We need more people in the police department, so if you're willing to spend money on for more people, they need to be in our Oldham County department.
But that's, we've already.
We've already been down that road.
I know, well, we've been down that road, and you see that we're battling our neighbors here. So, I'm not against exploring this idea. I'm just saying there's a lot of pitfalls out there that have to be overcome.
And that's what the contempt before investigation means. Let's go find what these pitfalls are.
Logston.
Judge, you're almost finished with the Churchill Downs first Saturday in May before we even get out of the gate. All we're asking Barry is to go explore this process. We're not giving any funds out. We're not doing anything. Me, for one, I would be more giving the counties money out of our opioid funds instead of hiring a police officer to do it. If Henry County, Carroll County, whatever, Trimble County, whoever's into it, I'd rather use some of our funds to give that to them and let them help them out than to go the route we're going. And we don't even know what route we're going yet. Y'all are making all these decisions, and we're not even there yet.
We haven't made any decisions.
We haven't made any
They're
decisions.
talking about all these scenarios that's not even there yet. So
The only decision I think we're trying to make right now is
Let's-
we're going to tell Mr. Baxter to go to this meeting and say, okay, from what I've got from the
you're exactly
from
right.
the
That's what we
court
should be
and
doing.
from the judge, that
But
Oldham
you're
County
all
wants
putting
to
out
hear more
100
about it.
You're putting out hiring police officers, hiring.
Yeah.
We just need to have Barry go explore this and come back and tell us what they found.
Well, that's fine with me, but we already have some indication of where other law enforcement would like to go with this, okay? This is not just 2 words, drug task force. They've already laid out, a malleable framework, I'll call it, an idea that would have to be massaged in one way or another. And I'm not opposed to finding more out about it, but
And I hate to interrupt you, Judge, but respectfully, it is malleable, but it's also based upon a successful drug task force from the Hardin County area, which it was the basis for the task force in northern Kentucky. So that this model that they're talking about, the money the number is one thing, but the model that they're talking about has been successful in other parts of the state.
well, I'm not trying to say it's not, but the counties that were involved in the other task force are not the 6 counties we're talking about here. Okay, Magistrate Jeffries.
Judge, I would like to propose a a potential motion for the court to say that we would support Barry Baxter going to this meeting on Friday and show the support of Oldham County Fiscal Court to at least look at and get more details for possibly Oldham County joining this task force. No commitment of dollars, no commitment of personnel, but we just would express the thoughts of the court that we would like to support this moving forward, at least to gather more information so that we can then make a more informed decision. So I would like to move that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Magistrate Hawkins.
I just wanted to clarify, I don't think we've said the 6 counties involved, so I think that might,
6 counties that make up the post area, so it's Gallatin, Owen, Carroll, Trimble, Henry, and Oldham, and possibly Shelby.
well, Shelby's District's 12, right?
Correct.
So the ones that our attorney brought to us this morning were
Carroll?
us, Carroll, Henry, Trimble, Owen, and Gallatin. Just for that clarity, I didn't know if you wanted to put that in the motion, Magistrate Jeffries, or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody understands it's the 6 counties. If it includes Oldham, it would be 6 counties. And then I think Barry said that he would check with Shelby County, with Sheriff Moore over there to see whether they might have an interest to join in being there in a different post.
Magistrate Woosley, is post 5 only these 6 counties?
Yes, ma'am.
No more? Okay.
All right, any further discussion there? Magistrate Tice.
One other thing I'd like to ask on, if we're okay with this. Excuse me, I can't remember that. Is if we're okay with this, then we assign this to the Sheriff's Department because of our staffing being low on our county police, et cetera, and then that works us up the county with all sheriffs, and therefore you've got all elected officials, et cetera.
Judge, I don't think that's not my intent of the motion yet. I mean, I don't think we're that far enough along to make those kind of decisions.
And I wasn't making that a motion, it was just my thought. I'll back away from that. I'm good with that.
Let's vote.
Okay, right, okay, you back away from that. And again, I want to make it clear, I'm not opposed to the idea of jointly working with other people, but to try to solve this problem and address the problem. But what the nexus is with our county, we need to know. And our county's much different than the other counties we're talking about. They're all rural, they're all small, and like I say, the majority of the population is in our county, and so will the majority of time be spent here? I don't know. There's just a lot of questions to be worked out. But I'm not opposed to the county attorney taking forward our willingness to hear more, listen more, and further consider the issue. So we're not saying no, but we're just not leaping in saying yes without knowing what the details are and how we think it would interface with us. So with that said, there's a motion on the floor. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? No? Okay. Thank you, Chief. Sheriff, I didn't give you a chance to say anything. Would you like to say anything further about this? Okay. All right. Thank you. Now we have personnel actions. Ms. Schaaf.
I can't have anything nice. He just throws it on the floor.
Good afternoon. Before you all this afternoon are several items. You have for Planning and Development Services, we're hiring a Planner 1, Sandy Rugrodin, at $25.64 an hour, and that's going to be effective on the 28th.
There a motion to hire Ms. Ruggerden? How do you say that?
I think so.
Don't mean to
I know.
mispronounce
So
anyone's
sorry.
name. I'm sorry about that.
I'll move that we offer Sandy the position of Planner 1 at $25.64 an hour.
Second.
Second.
All right.
Question.
Yes, sir.
I thought we were at full staff already down there. Did
This is
somebody
the
quit and I
last-
missed?
No, this is the last one, the last position.
And tell me how many positions we have down there.
You have a senior planner and 2 planner 1s.
I thought we already had 2, excuse me. Thank you. I just missed
You're
one.
good. Now we do.
Now we do. I
do.
got it.
Yes. Yes.
All right, hearing no further questions, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Then we had a resignation in the maintenance department, Tanner Gay, and that is effective on Friday, the 17th.
All right.
And then contract renewal for the police department, Kelly Ernst, and that's effective tomorrow, and that contract is attached for you all.
Motion to rehire Officer Ernst.
Judge,
So
I'll
moved.
make that motion.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
Motion
you.
carries. All right. Time now for the second public comment in the meeting. Is there anybody here who would like to address the court? Seeing no one, I'll close public comment and go on to our final announcements for the meeting. Magistrate Logston.
Yes, Judge, I just want to invite people to the Kentucky Clore Lane, Woolridge Avenue intersection. There's a project stakeholder meeting that's going to be on, let's see, when is that? Thursday, January 30th at 5 to 7 p.m. So if people are interested in that project, please come. It's going to be at the Dabble Barn. Please come and listen to
At
what
Baker's
happened.
Park.
Dabble. If you let me finish, I can do
Well,
something.
get on with it.
Jesus. At the Dabble's Barn at the Maples. And I think Bob Dye wants to say something also because it is in his district and he wants to say something so much. So you go ahead and finish it, old buddy.
Or I would certainly do a little bit better job of that. But if you have any interest in that intersection, this is the part that, they had a meeting here, a few months ago. This is going to be the design.
No, it's not.
That is.
We're going to talk about it.
Yes.
That's it. That's it, Judge.
All right, let's see. Magistrate Dye, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Magistrate Dyer, you done?
Yeah. I'm done.
Okay, Magistrate Hawkins.
I wanted to take a moment, like I do about this time every year, to recognize Roe v. Wade from 1973. It's 52 years ago. That, of course, has been overturned since and recently. But tomorrow is National Sanctity of Human Life Day, and just wanted to recognize that that day in history, and also to encourage support of pregnancy resource centers who have had an uptick in needs since the overturning of Roe v. Wade for parents who are making the choice to choose life and who need continued support after they've made the decision to keep the baby during an unplanned pregnancy. And so just encourage support of the pregnancy resource centers, and also in thinking about what the moms and dads would need after the child is born, like car seats, diapers, some of those things that you can't necessarily get on when the mom is on WIC. So that's all I have today, Judge. Thank you.
All right, Magistrate Hounds.
Yes, thank you, Judge. The last time we met, we were dealing with Snowmageddon, I guess is the best term to use. And just wanted to give a shout out again to the road departments all across the county, the state and the county and the city departments too. I think that we've done a pretty good job. We learned a couple of things about snow plowing that we haven't had to deal with for many years, the layer of ice and that. And I know that a lot of the magistrates got comments about how the roads were cleaned or what road didn't get taken timely. I just remind people again, somebody's got to be first and somebody's got to be last, unfortunately. But having driven the county roads a lot in the state roads, Oldham County did a pretty doggone good job. I had to go into Jefferson County and show a piece of property this week. I had to put my truck in four-wheel drive to get into a city street. Not picking on them because I know they've got their own issues to deal with, but I believe most people were able to drive at least Saturday of this week when I was out showing property, not have to deal with four-wheel drive vehicle on a city road. As I mentioned last court, we have a legislative day. I've gotten a couple of comments from actually two magistrates about things that they would like for us to talk about with our legislators in February. The comment that I'm getting from all of the legislators is how many people. So I need to know if you're able to come to Legislative Day, which is February the 12th, so I can let the legislators know how big of a room to get, if we can use their office or we have to get a conference room. So if you guys and gals could let me know, that'd be great. We talked about the bios of the magistrates, and I've gotten most of the magistrates' bios. I've got a few people that haven't sent anything, and a couple of them I have to trim down because when I sent them to our web guy, he said I don't have enough room for some of those. So we're gonna have to shorten them down a little bit. It's not a war and peace. And I won't call anybody out, but some of them are longer than others. So if you guys would like to rework those, that's fine. Or I might make a suggestion and give a template to use instead of some of the. Michael, you might be one of those people that I was just talking about. That's all, Judge. Yeah. That's all, Judge. Thanks.
Manager Jeffries.
Yes, Judge. The only thing I've got is just as I did the last meeting with this fall that we're going to have here someday, I think. These roads are going to start, potholes are going to start opening up. And so if you've got some in your area, just reach out to your magistrate, and then he or she will reach out and we'll make contact with either the state, the city, or the county road crews to hopefully get those patched. But just be aware that there's going to be a lot of them, so it might take a little while to get the whole county covered, but we will be actively working on it. So just reach out to your magistrate, and we'll make sure that those hopefully get addressed. That's all I have, sir.
Manager Woosley.
Judge, we did learn this morning in the road committee that the road department used about 1,200 tons of salt over this past event, so which is more than they've used the last 2 years combined. I want to mention 3 park and recreation department events that are coming up. They're hosting a father-daughter dance on January 31st and February 1st. The 31st is already sold out, and the second dance on February 1st is sold out, but they do have some availability on February 1st at 3 p.m. They also have a mystery dinner that's coming up on March 7th, and on March 15th, they're going to host the Blarney Bash obstacle course at the park system. So we've got lots of exciting things going on. We had a great report today from the Parks Department about what they've gone through last year, and so it's some exciting things. Last thing I got is today, 40 years ago, our Deputy Judge Joe Ender came into the earth, so I just wanted to wish him happy birthdays.
There you go.
Forgot about
All right, thank you.
He's
All
only
right, happy birthday. Today? Is
Yes,
it
he's
today?
only 40.
Today.
40. Oh, 40. Well,
Remember 40, Judge?
just barely.
1940.
Remember 50 better than 40. All right, let's see. Who's next? Manager Tice.
Yesterday, we got a new president, so I hope that as we go forward in the next 4 years that we see some harmony in the federal level. We also find it in the state level, and we also find it here, which I think we do pretty good at. So hopefully we'll have a good 4 years at all levels.
All right, Magistrate Likens.
Thank you,
Good to
Judge.
see you again.
I echo that with bless Donald Trump and give him the resolve and determination to make this country great again.
All right, thank you. And in regard to President Trump being elected yesterday, I plan to send a congratulatory letter to the president this week, hopefully, and include in it one of our bicentennial challenge coins. I noticed last night watching the president on television that he has a challenge coin display on his credenza behind his desk. I don't expect our challenge coin will wind up in there, but I'm sure they'll be happy to have it, and they save that sort of thing for the presidential museums and so forth. If any of you would like to sign the letter with me, we'll be very happy to include your signature line in our letter. We'll have you stop by and we can all sign it and send our congratulations to Donald Trump and wish him and the rest of his administration outstanding success during the next 4 years. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.